Standings after were worse.
He is close to another triple-double, my friend.
Hey there guys, what's going on, and welcome back to our channel. You won't believe they actually did this. NBA history has quite some disrespectful moments, from brawling with fans to stealing a player's wife. In this game, where you've seen some players play magnificently, you also must have witnessed the disastrous play of others. Today, we're going to discuss the most disrespectful moments in NBA history. As the NBA begins to rebound from its unplanned break, many fans are focusing on the league's past. For several, rewatching old games, researching YouTube for highlight reels, and reading up on the game's legends have all become quarantine activities. They'll surely be helped to remember the absolute most significant occasions of the most recent 10 years as they search over the oldies. To be considered for this role, you had to score well on two subjective scales: filthiness and disrespectfulness. Number 10. Reggie Miller choking the Knicks. The year was 1995 and the venue was Madison Square Garden, the final seconds of a pivotal playoff match. The Indiana Pacers are down by 6 points. Reggie Miller scored 8 points in 8.9 seconds, then gave a two-handed choke sign to New York Knicks' court jester Spike Lee. The Knicks have yet to recover their integrity after being so arrogant.
Put on the line, that's a two-pointer. And Reggie Miller in an animated discussion with Spike Lee.
Number 9. The arrival of Paul George. Paul George scored 10 points during his first 2 seasons with the Indiana Pacers in 2012-13, then soared to 7.4 in the same year and made the All-Star team. In the postseason, however, he looked like a star for the first time. Paul scored 19.1 points per game on his way to a meeting with LeBron James' Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he capped off his postseason run with this monster jam in Game 2 of that series. During the Pacers' win in Miami, he scored 2 of his 22 points on this play. Of course, the Heat would go on to win the series and the championship, but that didn't stop George from establishing himself as a star.
And click, click. Birdman, this is your Kodak moment.
Number 8. Joe Johnson being disrespectful. Joe Johnson, who was then with the Brooklyn Nets, went at his own speed and took advantage of his strong 6'7", 240-pound frame to get good looks against more agile defenders. However, this was a game against the league's 2 veteran teams. Johnson, on the other hand, was being rude as he placed the ball well in front of his body on the first few dribbles, practically begging Pierce, who was beyond his prime, to hit. JJ disappeared the moment he did. Pierce couldn't even get up after the reach because the crossover was too tiny. Pierce seems to be traveling in slow motion, but those of us who have played pickup ball well past our prime are all too familiar with the sensation.
Feet for Johnson. He looks at the clock. Johnson. Wow! Fakes out Pierce and hits!
Number 7. Courtney Lee gets a shimmy from Lance Stevenson. Courtney Lee gets going one way with a smooth, tight spin move before being dropped by a fast crossover back to the left. Then he hits the jumper, which isn't guaranteed with the then Indiana Pacer. All of that would almost definitely have earned Stevenson a spot on this list, but it was what he did after the shot went in that earned him a spot in the top 7. It's not so much a shimmy as it is a Stevenson-specific dance, and it had to make Lee and the Celtics regret giving up the bucket even more.
Standings after were worse.
He is close to another triple-double, my friend.
Number 6. LeBron James leveled Jason Terry. The overwhelming size gap between LeBron James, 6'9", 250 pounds, and Jason Terry, 6'2", 185 pounds, might get him a point or two on our imaginary scale, but the picture of this dunk is still striking. Here, LeBron takes out the then Celtics guard. After that, he offers him a quick stare down. Terry's attempt to challenge the lob leads to one question: what was he thinking? That was unquestionably the right time for a business decision. Instead, LeBron James of the Miami Heat raced past him as if he wasn't there.
Whoa!
Number 5, Wesley Johnson dropped by James Harden. Some can attempt to refute this James Harden play by suggesting he gave Wesley Johnson of the Clippers an off-arm shove mid-crossover. But that is absolutely fine, because anything that arises after the dribble is what propelled this moment into the top 5. Johnson looks at the down defender after receiving the jelly legs, flips the ball, and then drills a 3. As if that weren't enough, Harden announces the play to everyone who would listen as he runs down the court.
You got to try to stay in front of him. And oh my goodness. And watch Tay.
Number 4, Kendrick Perkins ruined by Blake Griffin. Due to an unrealistic time limit of 1 minute per player, everyone was forced to settle on this complete annihilation of Kendrick Perkins and his attempt to challenge possibly the greatest in-game dunker of all time. Here's a fun game to enjoy. At the height of Griffin's hop, try pausing the given video. You'll probably start giggling to yourself about how crazy this game is no matter where you land. Number 3, all of the Clippers lose to one Stephen Curry. In this single play, Stephen Curry torments 4 of the 5 Clippers. Curry appears to place a jump on Matt Barnes, Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, and Spencer Hawes in 2 or 3 seconds and within 2 to 3 square feet of the board. And he may not be completely incorrect. The Warrior star then launched a turnaround fadeaway 3 after dribbling away from the rim, which would be considered a terrible shot by almost any other player in NBA history. Much of this is subjective, but the magnitude of what Curry accomplished in those few seconds is astounding.
He had to recognize they were wanting for the last shot.
Number 2, Damian Lillard's goodbye to Russell Westbrook. The Portland Trail Blazers guard stared down Oklahoma City's George, a long defender who was an elite player that season, and shot from 36 feet as called a timeout in Game 5 of their first round playoff series. He drilled it, ending the match with 10 3-pointers and 50 points, putting an end to OKC's season. But it's what Lillard does afterwards that propels this moment. In this series, he absolutely dominated Westbrook, and then he waved goodbye to him after the shot.
Look at that shot. To put them out, he went for 50.
Number 1, Kobe Bryant dunked on Steve Nash. The Mamba's best poster is not what he did to Steve Nash. In 2006, Kobe Bryant introduced Dwight Howard to his manly regions. Bryant's post-dunk pendulum on the rim set the Steve Nash match apart. Imagine being Steve Nash lying on the floor in his own area watching Kobe Bryant do the uptown swing. Well, you can't even imagine that.
Oh, whoa! And Steve Nash called for the blocking foul. Kobe.
So do leave us your thoughts in the comments section below, and before we get out of here, don't forget to hit that like button on this video and subscribe to our channel, as well as hit the bell icon if you haven't already, so you can catch up on more awesome NBA related content such as this in the future. And with that, I'll be catching you guys later in another video. Bye now.